I'm going to start this video with a disclaimer. I don't think everybody should quit their job to follow their passion. However, there are a few telltale signs that you need to quit your toxic job ASAP. And that's what we're going to talk about in this video. If you're new here, don't forget to subscribe for more content on work-life balance and then come say hi on Instagram. So as well as that disclaimer, I'm going to preface this video by saying that I don't believe in doing things that you don't want to do. Simple as that. I'm a simple person. My life so far has been designed in a way where I can do whatever I want, say no whenever I want, and put myself first pretty relentlessly. But I'm also in favor of taking responsibility for your decisions and making the most of a job. When I was still working part-time to support me growing my first business, I knew that it wasn't perfect. But I also knew that even though it wasn't my soul's desire, it was serving a purpose. So if you're thinking about quitting a boring or soul-sucking job, but you don't have a plan, maybe think twice about quitting. I did do a video on this recently, which I will link below. In the meantime, you can work on work-life balance, focus on things outside of work without burning every professional bridge you've ever made, and then maybe quit further down the road. But I am sharing 5 signs that you should absolutely quit your toxic job as soon as possible. Number 1 is if people are openly bullying or harassing you. This is not even a question. Life is too short to put up with blatantly toxic workplaces. If you've set higher standards, if you've watched my videos and put more boundaries in place and talked to other colleagues about what you can do about it, and it's still happening, quit. You're not making it up, you're not overreacting, and you don't have to put up with it just because you're getting paid. Sign number 2 that you should quit is if your boss values work over your mental or physical health. I have a great story about this, and by great I mean terrible. I was in a part-time job back in the day, and my co-worker had a really terrible toothache. The dentist upstairs squeezed her in and was like, well, if you have a lunch break, I can just take this tooth out for you now, and then you need to go home. And the boss said no, but eventually agreed to let her go upstairs and get her tooth taken out while she was still supposed to be at work. She went and got it done on her lunch break, and the dentist said, hey, please go sit still biting down on this for 20 minutes. Boss comes upstairs, finds her sitting there with gauze in her mouth, is like, you have to go back to work now, and you have to apply for 20 minutes of sick leave to cover this. So she went back downstairs at the front desk and was literally bleeding onto her computer, and people coming in were like, do you know that you're bleeding? Quit. Just run. No amount of money is worth being treated like that. Side note, that person did end up quitting, and it was the best decision she could have ever made. Question for you in the comments, what do you think are some of the signals that you should quit your job as quickly as humanly possible? Let me know down below. Number 3 is if you are consistently being overlooked for opportunities, even if you're working really hard. I had a client who would constantly work overtime and would bend over backwards because she really wanted to be promoted. She put in her best for years and was overlooked for 3 promotions. She also eventually quit after working with me and realizing that her life didn't have to revolve around working hard for a corporation that didn't care, and is now living her best life. So if you know that you are putting in your best and it is just being overlooked, it's time to move on. And it's a good time to remind you not to give into sunk cost fallacy. This is where you stick it out because you've already put so much time and effort in, so it seems like a waste to just leave. However, the sooner you leave, the sooner you can start working somewhere that actually appreciates your efforts. Number 4 is if they constantly expect you to work more than you're paid. Most jobs that expect you to work more than you're paid, work overtime all the time, or do jobs that aren't really in your job description have a culture issue. They are also usually the same sorts of companies that can replace you in a heartbeat if you leave or if something happened to you. If people judge you for taking your mandated break, breaks, if they judge you for taking advantage of leave or benefits, probably time to quit. The fifth sign that it's probably time to quit is if you can literally feel your soul draining. You're not just tired, you're not just busy and overworked, but you can literally feel your vitality starting to slip. You feel like you're starting to run out of time to do the things that you want to in your life. That feeling of life is too short can be a good reason to quit. Which is why I started this video with a disclaimer that not everybody should do that, and there are reasons to stay. But I remember when I was working in my part-time job, the one that was supporting me building my business, and I was on a fifth cup of coffee and I was staring into space. I was like, oh my god, like, why am I so tired? And then I was like, it's because I hate what I'm doing. No amount of coffee is going to fix it if you literally hate every second of what you're doing. So if you feel that way, firstly you should book in a one-on-one session with me, which you can do by emailing me hello@lucybecker.com, and then you should probably think about quitting. Thank you so much for joining me for another video on work-life balance and boundaries at work. If you're thinking about quitting your job, check out this video that I did on 6 things I wish I'd known before I quit my job, and I will see you next week.